Hello, hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome to episode 125 of Fresh Approach Fitness, a wellness company. This is October 24th, 2022, and today we're talking about how you're keeping track. And before we go too far, I want to remind everybody that I do have resources and tools to help support you on your journey. So you've been listening to these podcasts for a while, or perhaps you're brand new and you stumble across them and you're just like wondering, well, this is great, but what do I do with this information? I actually have created books, courses, and different workshops to walk you through exactly what you need to do. So if you have any questions with any of this, reach out to me, sonyajanisse@gmail.com. But today, with just less than 2 months left of 2022, I wanted to share with you, how do you keep track? How do you keep track of life and where you're at? I mean, in so many cases, it just seems like we are on autopilot, right? And if you haven't heard my Essentially You workshop, I do talk about the fact that subconsciously we're sitting there in 95% on autopilot day in, day out, which is very interesting, right? Because even if we take 1% action every single day towards the goals that we're working on, we're going to have results. We're going to have something show up differently in our life. We are making small incremental changes bit by bit. So how do you track that so you know what kind of results you're getting? Because day in, day out, when we feel like we're on autopilot, we might not notice those changes. So before we go too far, I want you to think about a couple things. First of all, what goals did you set yourself for the new year? Okay. Now, after you've set those goals for the new year, were there any other goals throughout the year that you set or reset? Or was this something that you looked at once and then you're done with it? Be truthful. You're not hurting anybody's feelings but your own. I've actually seen it all and I've witnessed it all. In terms of, people are so different. Sometimes we'll set those goals for January or for back to school or whenever we're ready to set those goals, and we take different action. And in some cases, we plant the seed, but we take no action. So I'm going to go over a couple quick questions with you, and we're going to review them. Okay? So what's my goal? Has my goal changed? Have my circumstances changed? Do I have an action plan in place? Have I been consistent? If consistency has been a problem, why is that? What do I need to change to be consistent? And as I work through this goal, what's working for me? What's not working for me? So these are some great questions, especially before we go too far in today's session, because if we're making small incremental changes day in, day out, we might not notice how far we've come in terms of reaching our goal, or how far we've come versus where we've been. So I use a couple of different modalities for tracking. For those that have been following me on social media, every single Friday for the last year, if not longer, I do a check-in Friday where I talk about meals, movement, mindset, and my relationship with money. And I talk about those wins for the week on Friday. So that's a weekly check-in. Daily, in my calendar beside my mirror in the bedroom, I use 4 different color stickers: red, green, blue, yellow. And every day I take action in one of those 4 spots. I get a sticker on my calendar. So that is a daily reminder of the action that I've taken towards my goals, whatever those goals are to you. Then in my day timer every single day as well, my quarterly planner that I've used and created. So if you haven't seen this yet, check it out on Amazon. I will put the link in the show notes here. But I actually use my daily planner and I check off goals that move the needle as well. Things that matter to me, or in my case, most cases, I also use my habit tracker. Now, my habit tracker isn't something I use every single day as consistently as the calendar, as consistently as my agenda. But when I get in the groove of doing my habit tracker, and I'm very consistent with it, so are my results. And this goes back to those questions that we just asked. What's the goal? Has my goal changed? Has my circumstances changed? Do I have an action in place? Have I been consistent? If consistency has been a problem, why is that? Why do I need to change to be consistent? What do I need to change? Not why. What do I need to change to be consistent? And as I work towards this goal, what's working for me? What's not working for me? So when I use these different systems, whether it's the calendar in the bedroom or my quarterly planner in the office, and I've got little checks or colored stickers besides my goal, that's how I notice that I am on track. That is how I notice what consistency does for me. I'm not necessarily going to notice my strength or my weight loss because those are slow and gradual. However, I will notice if I break the chain of identifying consistency. Consistency is key for tracking your habits and for having success in your daily action. So, when it comes to keeping track, you need to find a system that works for you. But the system needs to work based on your personality, based on your energy, based on your life, and based on your goals. Revisit your goals. Otherwise, sometimes it can feel like you are feeling like a fraud. Have you ever met any life coaches that said that they're stuck? They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do in their own personal life, but yet they're coaching people all day long how to move forward with their lives. That's called imposter syndrome. And it's not that we don't have it. It's not that we as coaches don't have moments of feeling stuck, but that's exactly it. It's just moments. Like you, there are peaks and valleys in our lives. So in order to avoid imposter syndrome, you need to start acting slowly and progressively like the person you are trying to be. What is the result of the goals that you are working on? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to have more energy? Are you trying to avoid the family hereditary illnesses that are a part of the family and you have increased risk? What is your reason for doing what you need to do? Go back and revisit your why. Is it to run another 5K, 10K to get more medals? What is the reason? Once you understand your reason, and again, if you need support doing this, reach out. I'm glad to support you on this, and do the wellness quiz. I'm going to add the link to my show notes. It's called the Kind of Curious Quiz, and this is a great indicator as to where to start, especially if you don't know where to start. Because if I were to say to you, the best way you're going to get results is to step into that future version of you. Well, that future version of you, if you step into him or her the way you are right now, that is going to directly lead you to imposter syndrome right away. Because you're not used to feeling as gracious or as confident or as prepared as the future version of you is. So in order to start stepping into that future version, you need to make small incremental steps and take consistent action daily so you don't feel like you're doing the imposter syndrome. We all have moments. We all have ups and downs. We all have days. And last week you heard me talk about being derailed. Of course I'm feeling much better. I even sat outside and had a campfire this week. But guys, that's life. It's not imposter syndrome. You are growing into that next version of you. But you need to be tracking your progress, or it's going to be really, really, really easy to sidestep and to altogether have to start from scratch. You attract what you track. So go ahead and start tracking day in, day out to start to get the results that you're looking for and to slowly bring yourself into that future version of you. Go back and think for a second of a time where you really wanted something. Perhaps you wanted a job. Let's go with this analogy. And the job was going to pay you so much more money, and your life, in your mind's eye, your life was going to change because your bills were going to be paid off, and you were going to have holidays and vacations and sick days, and you get to travel because of this job. And it has been everything that you wanted it to be. How does that feel? Stepping into a job that makes you feel amazing. How does that feel? Take those feelings, and those feelings are what you want to write other activities down to help bring those feelings into your life. It's all about the feelings. It's not about working out per se. It's about the endorphin high you get from working out that makes you choose healthier foods and have a stronger, positive, more mindset. In most cases, when it comes to our goals and when it comes to tracking, we try different things. With the end result of, I don't know how I'm going to get it done, but I'm going to do it. And that's where we're at right now. We don't know what we're going to get done. I remember when I wrote my first book, I didn't know how or what it was going to lead to, let alone an international bestseller, workshop, a course based out of it. I had no idea, but I knew it was something I always wanted to get done. And in order to become an author, which I still find surreal, by the way, I don't walk around introducing myself as an author. I had to implement small little steps of consistency and track them all over the house like I do right now in order to move the needle in that direction. Find a method that works for you for tracking. Because how you keep track is so important. Sorry, it's not how that you keep track. It's that you keep track is so important. So you can see how much work and effort is dedicated towards helping you go where you want to be. If it was easy, you'd be exactly where you're at right now. And go back to the fact that I said 90%, 95% of what you do is on autopilot. Without making consistent change and consistent effort to change, you're not going to get there because you're going to stay with what's comfortable. You're not going to be able to manifest your destiny. And that's what I want for you. So I want you to think about today what it is that you would like to reach. What goal is it that you aspire to? Now think of different ways of tracking this through a habit tracker, and you can email me to get your free copy. Just write episode 125 in the email, and I will send you out your free habit tracker. Or are you going to use a color-coded sticky system on a calendar? What is it that you're going to do to track your goals to keep you accountable? And these can be long-term goals. These can be short-term goals. These can be project-specific goals, such as paying off your bills, such as working on your debt, such as reframing your mind, body, and thoughts. What I mean by mind, body, and thoughts, I mean knowing that going for a daily walk is non-negotiable. So you listen to an audiobook while you do it, and now you've checked 2 things off: your basic meals, movement, mindset, and your relationship with money. You are intentionally making choices and decisions to move things along. We want to be stepping into the conscious mind for these choices. When it comes to the habit tracker, think of the feelings that you're trying to get to. Think of your reasons behind the goal. And think of whether this is a short-term goal or a long-term goal. What's going to remind you to stay on track? I have to have memory. I have to have little reminders all over the house because it's not easy to start something new. It's very easy to eat a cookie, but not when I am trying to lose weight. So when you track your progress, it might not seem like much when you pay off $250 out of $3,000. But after you've paid $250 a few times, you'll see it starting to add up. Be sure to track your progress as you work on your goal. I make little charts, and when I started writing books, when I started doing savings, I would write 1,000 words. Every time I wrote my book, if I wrote down 1,000 words, I would check off a little box. Every time I saved a little money, and I would write down what that goal is, whether it's $5 a week towards my bills extra, I would check off a box. It helped me see how much work I had to do, but it also helped me identify how far I've come. Finding a visual way to track your progress is motivating, especially when it feels like we are a far way to the end of the progress. This helps you realize that you're further and further from where you started, and you're getting closer and closer to your goals. We need to remember that this is a progress. This isn't an overnight success. So, what are some of the other ways that you can use to track? I would love to hear from you. Go ahead and post it below, share, comment on this, how you love to track. Do you use a phone? Do you use a habit tracker? Do you use an app? Do you circle back and see what's changed for you? Now, you can take this theory and apply it to your day-to-day week with your business, your monthly goals, your quarterly goals. The caveat here is it is super important to review what you've done to make sure that you are going in the right direction. Review your information regularly. I know this podcast seemed to have come out of nowhere when I talked about derailed, but I also know when I talked about derailed last week, let's finish that up. And then all of a sudden I'm talking about tracking your progress this week. But why it's so important is we are heading into a busy time of year. And I know for some people it's always a busy time of year. For me in particular, this is birthday season and holiday season. And finding a tracking method that works for me with my goals will keep me on track during the busiest of days. I like to put the stickers on my calendar. I like to check things off on my agenda. I like to know that I am making small incremental moves towards where I want to be. That is why I track. Whether I track my food, whether I'm tracking my finances, whether I'm tracking what I listen to for personal development, whether I'm tracking the number of people I reach out to every single day for business. Whoever you are and whatever you're tracking, it is so important to have a system. And use multiple systems until you find the system that works for you. I know today we jumped right in. Today's episode's a little bit short and sweet, and I want you to think of a system that you find works best for you, because it's going to make all of the difference in the world. Okay, my friends, I'm going to add a few things here. I'm going to add how to get your habit tracker. You can email me. I'll put my email address in here. I will add some links to my workshops. More importantly, my Essentially You course, which is going to teach you a lot more about your energy style, your personality style. There is a habit tracker included in there, and this is a great way for you to learn who you are who you are, and it helps you understand why you do the things you do to help you come up with the best tracking system for you, because you really want to shine today, tomorrow, and every day. Make it a fantastic day, my friends, and we will talk soon.